Street, package got to go back. This real talk, man. This is how it works.
Are you letting your circumstances talk you out of what God put in your heart? God still wants to bring it to pass, but you have to get in agreement with Him and say, God, I still believe it can happen. Thoughts whispering, you'll never meet the right person. You can't pass that college course. These problems are so big. I don't see how it can work out. Don't take the bait. Those are lies to try to defraud you out of your purpose. Do yourself a favor. Ignore it. Just say, no thanks, I still believe.
There's a fight going on right now over what you believe. Believing is our only gateway to God. Satan doesn't need your house. Satan doesn't need your car. He needs you worried. He needs you upset. The enemy is after your mind.
When you have unconditional trust, you can't be defeated. The forces that are for you are greater than the forces that are against you. I don't get frustrated when things aren't changing as fast as I would like. I know that God is in control. At the right time, God will get you to where you're supposed to be.
God has fixed it that we all must become like children and have childlike faith and dare to believe Him. Your belief system has to be built on God, not church. Your faith has to be built on something that's solid as a rock. So somebody shout, I am a believer.
God wouldn't have given you the dream and not made a way to bring it to pass. And if you will stay in faith, you'll come in to what God has already set up. People can't stop it. Injustice can't stop it. You keep honoring God, and what He's already set up is going to find you. Keep your mind filled with faith. God is still on the throne. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. Yes, we're going to have disappointments, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. All the forces of darkness cannot keep you from your destiny.
Doubtless. I'm not talking about other people believing for you. You got to believe this for yourself. I was called for this. I was meant for this. You got to be doubtless or you can't harvest. So if you are going to go into harvest, somebody shout, I believe it.
Telling yourself every day, here I go again, and I got what it takes, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
Instead of going from I believe to I gave up, go from I believe to I still believe. Joel, I tried and it didn't work out. That's part of the process. Those are tests that you have to pass. You have to have a made-up mind that you're going to believe until you see that promise come to pass.
And stop trying to keep up with the culture. The culture will send you to hell because the culture can do anything. It is not your job to try to imitate the world. It is their job to be influenced by you. Come on, somebody. God wants you to believe Him.
People who don't believe in you is not going to dampen your faith. Your time is coming. What God put in your heart is still on the way. Yes, we're going to have disappointments. Don't be intimidated by the opposition. That's a sign that you're close to your victory.
That if the truth were told, all of us have had moments that we wanted to throw up our hands and walk away.
We know what God has promised, but when we look at the circumstances, it says we're stuck. But the Scripture says the things we see are subject to change.
Don't allow a moment of agony to make you draw a conclusion about life prematurely. God has a way of making everything all right.
Your dream may seem impossible. That's subject to change. When a caterpillar is crawling on the ground, he looks up and sees a beautiful butterfly. When he looks at his circumstances, there's nothing about them that says he will ever fly. He didn't realize it wasn't permanent. His wings were coming. God did not create you to crawl. Now quit being discouraged by what you see. What you see is subject to change. You're going to discover gifts talents, creativity that you didn't know you had. But if you stay focused on the drought, how big the problem is, that's going to keep you in a caterpillar mode. I can't get ahead. I've reached my limits. Your own thinking will keep your wings from developing. You had every right to give up. All the facts say it's impossible. Your attitude is, that's okay. God can do the impossible. That's when you have to dig down deep and say, God, my mind says I'm crazy, but I still believe what you promised is on the way. What's trying to stop you is not permanent. Don't reduce what God promised you to fit your faith. Don't be limited by your faith. Stretch your faith. He is not asking you to figure it out. He's asking you to believe. Keep your mind filled with faith. He's planned out your days for good.
You looking at me today with all that I've accomplished because of faith. You think for 1 minute you're going to make it without God, you tripping. Listen, man, anybody can be successful, but you got to understand something. It's hard. Being successful, y'all, is not a magic trick. Success is hard. But let me ask you a question. Ain't not being successful hard too? You want the hard with some options or some benefits, or you want the hard with ain't nothing going on?
One of the ways that you can take an ordinary life and make it extraordinary is to learn to do every single thing that you do with and for God. Raise your kids for God. Let your marriage glorify God. Let your attitude glorify God. Let God into everything that you do. God believes in you. He's got hope for you. He's got a future plan for you. And no matter how many times you've messed up, God is willing to give you another chance and another chance and another chance if you'll just be serious about your relationship with Him.
All right. Good morning. God bless everybody. What's going on? A beautiful day. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day it is that the good Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Helps out. It helps out. Give it a thumbs up. Like it. Oh, yes. All right. Let's see what's going on in this market. Let's jump in. I'm hoping everybody had a nice weekend. Ready to get back to work. Let's see what we have here. What do we got here on the screen? No, thank you. We're not going to connect any paper trades today. All right. So we're starting off looking at GD to the PDE. USD JPY. God bless you. God bless you. You're welcome. So what I'm looking at here, you don't feel good? My sidekick is in the office with me this morning. Says she's not feeling too good. We're going to pray that she feels better. Father God, bless Amara right now to feel better, Lord. Heal her. I'm praying for you. You didn't know? Yeah. I think my friends are probably praying for you too to feel better. All right. So this is what it looks like I'm going to do this morning. That news jumped up and put USA back in control, and USA has been doing their thing for a while. So a lot of people have been waiting for this move to take place. Gonna be honest, I was looking for it to drop a little bit more. Wanted some more non-stop to the drop. So did lose a couple of trades last week with that news, and we won a couple of them too. So we are looking at very mild Monday, low impact news all the way around. We'll see if we get a push during opening bell. Low impact news, 2 hours for USA. It's yourself. I love you. It does. So right now I'm locking in a buy stop. My entry is going to be 156 point. Well, I'm sorry, 157. 157.012. And then my take profit is going to be 157.120. Right. Right. So looking at NZD USD, I think NZD USD, just looking at what it's doing, should get a nice drop. We are looking good for buy. It's been like a good tug of war with NZD USD. Thinking we'll get a good drop. It's been pushing up for a minute, but just thinking overall that we should be able to snag a good 10 out of this drop because we got a nice move here. And we lost that one. Really good. It's really good loss for us right there. Let me see what that looks like. So yeah, I think I'm gonna come in right here. I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do. All right, so going for a sell stop right now on NZD USD. I don't know why people have a hard time admitting when they lost, especially when everybody can see what you're doing. Most definitely, it's not going to win them all. We're not going to win them all. Okay, get that one. Just put it on that table right there. Would be nice if we could, but the majority of them. So my entry is going to be 0.61063. My take profit is going to be, yes, put it on the table over there. 0.61063. All right. I am in. Hey, 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 Faye, Faye, Faye. God bless you. You miss your parents when you're at school? We miss you too. Right. All right. GBP USD. Haven't looked. We are coming down 2-hour TP from GBP USD again. And do it again. Do it again. Do it again. So I'm looking to sell GD to the PD, GBP USD. I'm gonna set up nice little sale here. Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. All right, setting up a sale stop for GBP USD. Entry is going to be 1.127. 0.98. And then my TP is going to be 1.26983. I don't think I got my entry in right for this entry 1.26983. 7104. Having a hard time putting this trade in. $1.27089. Can't get it. 27089. There we go. Ooh, finally got it in. Just putting the wrong number in. 1.27089 for the entry. 1.27089 for the entry. For GBP USD. All right. So we did hit TP here. He was happy to kiss the floor. Pretty silly bear. Let's look around. No, we're not. Right. Give me a kiss. Oh, thank you. Early morning sugar jumping off over here. Euro JPY. It's another one that we lost. No, we hit that one. We did get TP on that one. All right. Just kind of I think Euro JPY is a nice one to look at. I like how this one is looking for a sell. See if I can find some stuff hanging around to save some time here. All right, there's entry right there. So looking at Euro JPY on this one. I'm going to do a sell stop. 168.506. It's my entry. And then my TP is going to be 168.403 for my TP. Gotta make up for the trade that I lost. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat. All right. Locked in and looking good. This gives us 4. Gonna see if I see anything else that looks good. All right, we just got an entry on GBP USD. Just got an entry on GBP USD. There we go. Yes, he is. Come on. Yeah, Pip's on the move. Pip's on the move. Let's rock them bells. All right. Rock the bells. You know it. Rocking the bells. Amara says, rock the bells. All right, so we're in. Yes, ma'am. All right, we got an entry on NZD USD. Entry on NZD USD. Let's go. See if we could get that one jumping off. Turn it on. Yes. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Rock the bells. Rocking, rocking bells, bells, bells. Belly yelly yellies. All up in that jelly yelly yelly. NZD USD is in. All right. So we still have UJ, and then we have DJ. About 9 minutes out, opening bell. Used to doing just 4 trades, but I think put in a makeup spot. Yeah, let's go for this one right here. See if we could find something laying around. Ta-da, ta-da. It's nice when you take a trade and you're on the right side of the news. This was one of those trades. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. Coming back right here at AU. AU. Entry is going to be 0.65. 895. TP is going to be 0.65. 787. And I'm in. I'm not in the trade. I just got it locked in. Omar is in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I can find another one for us. All right. We do this one. All right. GJ. Just got an entry on EJ. Just got an entry on EJ. What we're going to do, I'm going to lock in GJ right now. Before I move, I'm going to lock in GJ. Locking in GJ. Entry is going to be 199.277. Look at those double digits. All right. TP is going to be 199.011. Okay. And again, that is for GJ. I think that's it. I'm going to stop right there and just see what happens. Let's go over here and check out EJ. That's just a nick. Look at that there. Just a my, and then turned around. We'll still take that. Let's call LL in here. Let him do what he do. Let's go. Turn this orange. And then can't forget DJ. Rocking the bells. Rock, 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 rock. All right, there we go. Some good with that right there. GBP USD is in profit. Got a yittle profit jumping off. AU is running to profit. Let's take a look. GU. Little profit here on GU. You want to lay down? Okay. And little profit on NZD USD. Cool. 2 of them. All right, y'all. Let's just watch and see what happens. Let's go back to some of that good motivational speaking.
And yet when God speaks to you, when he puts something in your heart, when something in the word comes alive to you, if you'll listen to your spirit and not your head, you see things and you can believe for things that just absolutely don't even make any sense. If you do something you believe God's asking you to do and it doesn't seem to work for a while, don't give up. Just keep believing if you heard from God that God will bring it to pass and make it happen. He'll either redirect you or you just need to wait on him. You know, if you're not believing for the impossible, then you're not open for a miracle in your life. But I'll tell you one thing, if you believe that God's put something in your heart and it stays, and it's not going away, and it's not going away, you take one step and you see what happens. If that seems to work, you take another step and you see what happens. And if that seems to work, then you take another step. And pretty soon those steps that were baby steps are starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be running with God full speed ahead, doing things that you cannot even imagine.
We all have things that we're believing for. A dream to come to pass, our health to turn around, to meet the right person. We've been praying for a long time, standing on the promises. We don't see anything happening. But what you can't see is behind the scenes, God is at work. He not only heard you when you prayed, He took it one step further and put the miracle into motion. The psalmist said, the moment you pray, the tide of the battle begins to turn. And just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean the answer is not on the way. And the people that see promises fulfilled, the people that see breakthroughs are the people that keep praying, keep believing, keep standing in faith. In 1 John it says, this is the confidence we have in God. If we ask anything according to His will, we know that He hears us. Thoughts will tell you, it's not making a difference to pray. You're wasting your time getting your hopes up, believing that you'll get well. You saw the medical report. You'll never break the addiction. You've had it so long. Don't believe those thoughts. The moment you prayed, the Creator of the universe goes to work. It may not happen on your timetable or the way you thought, but He is a faithful God. What He promised you, He will bring to pass. David said, each morning I bring my request before God and wait expectantly. He didn't just pray and say, okay, I did my part. He prayed and then waited with expectation. He went through the day looking for God's goodness, believing for favor, talking like it was going to happen. Not, I'll never defeat this giant. Look how big he is. It's twice my size. I don't have a chance. David had a report of victory. He looked at Goliath and said, this day I will defeat you and feed your head to the birds of the air. He expected God's favor. He said, surely goodness, mercy follows me everywhere that I go. He was saying, in effect, I know the forces that are for me are greater than the forces that are against me. What am I saying? It's not enough to just pray. You have to follow it up with expectancy, with a knowing that God not only heard you because you prayed according to His will, but that He dispatched the angel with the answer. What God brings you, it may not be exactly what you thought, the way you thought, but I can tell you firsthand, what God has in store will be bigger, better, more rewarding than you ever imagined. Don't put God in a box. You may not see how it can happen. The medical report is not good. You don't have the finances, the connections. God has ways to do it that you've never thought of. David used a slingshot to defeat Goliath. He didn't have the training, the experience, the equipment, but a slingshot with the favor of God is more powerful than a whole army without it. God knows what you need, and He knows how to get it to you. You don't have to figure out how God's going to do it. The Scripture says, lean not to your own understanding. If you try to figure it out, you're going to get confused. Well, you say, Joel, this all sounds good. It's encouraging, but I don't believe it's going to happen for me. I don't believe that just because you said something, anything's going to change. Then this is not for you. This is for believers. This is for people that know God is in control, that He set the miracle into motion, that the angel's on the way. You're going to see your healing, your promotion, your breakthrough, your victory. God is going to open doors no man can shut and take you to the fullness of your destiny. Possible, that's subject to change. When a caterpillar is crawling on the ground, he looks up and sees a beautiful butterfly. When he looks at his circumstances, there's nothing about them that says he will ever fly. He didn't realize it wasn't permanent. His wings were coming. God did not create you to crawl. Now quit being discouraged by what you see. What you see is subject to change. You're going to discover gifts, talents, creativity that you didn't know you had. And if you stay focused on the drought, how big the problem is, that's going to keep you in a caterpillar mode. I can't get ahead. I've reached my limits. Your own thinking will keep your wings from developing. You had every right to give up. All the facts say it's impossible. Your attitude is, that's okay. God can do the impossible. That's when you have to dig down deep and say, God, my mind says I'm crazy, but I still believe what you promised is on the way. What's trying to stop you is not permanent. Don't reduce what God promised you to fit your faith. Don't be limited by your faith. Stretch your faith. He is not asking you to figure it out. He's asking you to believe. Keep your mind filled with faith. He's planned out your days for good.
You looking at me today with all that I've accomplished because of faith. You think for 1 minute you're going to make it without God, you tripping.
That we're believing for, a dream to come to pass, our health to turn around, to meet the right person. We've been praying for a long time, standing on the promises. We don't see anything happening. But what you can't see is behind the scenes, God is at work. He not only heard you when you prayed, He took it one step further and put the miracle into motion. The psalmist said, the moment you pray, the tide of the battle begins to turn. And just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean the answer is not on the way. And the people that see promises fulfilled, the people that see breakthroughs are the people that keep praying, keep believing, keep standing in faith. In 1 John it says, this is the confidence we have in God. If we ask anything according to His will, we know that He hears us. Thoughts will tell you, it's not making a difference to pray. You're wasting your time getting your hopes up, believing that you'll get well. You saw the medical report. You'll never break the addiction. You've had it so long. Don't believe those thoughts. The moment you prayed, the Creator of the universe goes to work. It may not happen on your timetable or the way you thought, but He is a faithful God. What He promised you, He will bring to pass. David said, each morning I bring my request before God and wait expectantly. He didn't just pray and say, okay, I did my part. He prayed and then waited with expectation. He went through the day looking for God's goodness, believing for favor, talking like it was going to happen. Not, I'll never defeat this giant. Look how big he is. It's twice my size. I don't have a chance. David had a report of victory. He looked at Goliath and said, this day I will defeat you and feed your head to the birds of the air. He expected God's favor. He said, surely goodness, mercy follows me everywhere that I go. He was saying, in effect, I know the forces that are for me are greater than the forces that are against me. What am I saying? It's not enough to just pray. You have to follow it up with expectancy, with a knowing that God not only heard you because you prayed according to His will, but that He dispatched the angel with the answer. What God brings you, it may not be exactly what you thought, the way you thought, but I can tell you firsthand, what God has in store will be bigger, better, more rewarding than you ever imagined. Don't put God in a box. You may not see how it can happen. The medical report is not good. You don't have the finances, the connections. God has ways to do it that you've never thought of. David used a slingshot to defeat Goliath. He didn't have the training, the experience, the equipment, but
So looking at Forex Factory, just jumping over here, looking at 3 rare folders, 830, that's what we're experiencing now. I was looking at FX, and they did not show this news, but that was the push that we got from the news right there. That we're getting. You know what? I'll take that back. Take that back. Give me a second. Because y'all don't even want to know where I'm at. 2022. Take that back, y'all. Let's do that again. I don't know where that news came from because I was in the wrong month and the wrong year. But now, June 10th, Monday, I don't see anything from the news. I don't know where that jump came from, but it was real. Shouldn't have been a threat, anything to put anybody out of the trade. No. So just wanted to address that. Excuse me. Let's keep an eye on it.
A slingshot with the favor of God is more powerful than a whole army without it. God knows what you need, and He knows how to get it to you. You don't have to figure out how God's going to do it. The Scripture says, lean not to your own understanding.
I learned something about
I've been receiving checks from Charles Schwab on a weekly basis. Let me
the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
Truth is, you're one decision away from changing your life.
Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is.
And we're in the same boat now. But you're thinking about what you could have been. I am exactly what I should have been.
We are all born with built-in greatness.
Everything that someone says in life, take it with a grain of salt.
Start to stand up for yourself. Don't let anybody push you around, tell you that you don't deserve something, make you uncomfortable, make you feel less than. You are not less than. Stand up for you.
So no matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. That's the way it works. When I look in the mirror, I know that I've done everything that I could. Like, I've given everything. I'm the best in the world. I can do this.
Look down over what you conquered.
Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, you, I run this motherfucker.
I'm going to make things happen.
It's time to get back to work.
It doesn't matter how hard you work. I'm willing to work harder than you.
And I know every motherfucker ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. That's how you level up.
stop being average when your potential is crying to come outside and be more than that.
Thank you. Hello, how are you? How many of you have some major goals you'd like to achieve? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I know you do. That's why you showed up. I like to ask people whether or not they have goals that they'd like to achieve, and hopefully they're goals that really are worthy of your efforts and your talents. I want you to shake someone's hand right now on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, you have something special. I like to ask whether or not you have goals, but I want to ask you another question. How many of you know that if you had your life to live over again, you could do more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands, please. Now, that proves the point that what we do and what we accomplish in life is only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for us. So I want you to think about some goals that you'd like to achieve, and I'd like for you to, let's say, break them up in 3 categories. Number 1, I want you to think about some personal goal you'd like to achieve. And I'd like for you to think about some career goal, some business goal that you'd like to achieve. And I want you to think about some social contribution, some impact you'd like to make with your life. It was Horace Mann who said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. I believe we live in the greatest country in the world that gives us an opportunity to leave our mark, to make a statement with our lives. And as you think about these goals, whatever those goals are, I want you to dramatically increase those goals. And I want to warn you, I don't want you to think about how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. The most important thing is just to increase those goals dramatically. I've found that most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. And many don't aim at all. So raise the bar on yourself and don't ask how you're going to do it. I'll never forget when I decided that I wanted to become a motivational speaker. I saw the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and my heart said, I can do that. But my mind asked the question, how? And for over 14 years, I would go see Zig Ziglar and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Jim Rohn and different speakers, and I would be in the audience, and my heart would pounce and say, you can do that, Les. And then when I would leave, I would be going to the parking lot, and my mind said, how are you going to do it? And I spent so many years trying to figure out how. I wasted 14 years. How many of you ever procrastinated? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, see, so as you begin to think about your goals, the most important thing is, and write this down, commit yourself. See, once you commit yourself, the how will come, the way will come. Once you commit yourself, you will then figure it out. And if you're going in the wrong direction, all you have to do is turn around and go in the other direction. You will figure it out. You want to begin to just challenge yourself. You want to stretch yourself because you really don't know what you can't do. I'll never forget the first day that I met Mr. Washington. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City. I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother. And when we were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted. And when I was in the 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade. And I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. I don't have any college education, but because of my mother, and I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. I saw a sign once that said that God took me from my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. So my first major goal was to buy my mother a home, to take care of my mother. And I did that, took care of her until she passed at 88. But I'll never forget when I met Mr. Washington. I was in a class waiting on another student, and he came in and he said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for us. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He said, why? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. I said, yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, sir, I can't do what you're asking me to do. He said, why? Sir, because I'm educable, mentally retarded, sir. And as the students erupted in laughter, he came from behind his desk, he looked at me and he said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated. But on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is. He only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be. Then he becomes what he should be. And so Mr. Washington, he challenged me. And I want to challenge you right now about raising your goals, and I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, stretch yourself. see, I think that you really have to stretch yourself to discover your stuff. I think that we have to really begin to experiment with life. When I said that you have something special, I didn't say that just to be kind and courteous. You do. See, I think that there are not many people that come to seminars or workshops or will watch a program of this nature. Why? I just think that most people are just satisfied to where they are. I'm reminded of a man one day. He was walking down the street and he passed his porch where some people were on the porch talking, and there was a dog moaning and groaning. And he was curious why the dog was moaning and groaning, and he went back and he said, excuse me, he asked the owner, why is the dog moaning and groaning? Guy said, because he's laying on a nail. He said, well, why won't he get off? He said, it's not hurting bad enough for him to get off. Just hurting bad enough to moan and groan. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. How many of you know people, all they do is moan and groan? Moan and groan. I'm not making enough money. Moan and groan. I'm unhappy with my job. 87% of people go to jobs that they hate. And in addition to that, you know, as we know that we have the dubious distinction in this country that on Monday morning the heart attack rate increases over 35%. On Monday morning between 6 o'clock and 9, people going to jobs that they hate. The heart said, didn't I tell you I didn't want to go?
Order filled.
Them. Some of you don't want to go to work next Monday. So the thing is this. So you want to find out what resonates with you. What is it you really want to do? You want to experiment with life and find out what fits for you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. See, I believe that anybody through observation and practice can perform at the level of excellence. But when you're pursuing your greatness, and this is worth writing down, you don't know what your limits are, and you act like you don't have any. So I say to you, you have something special. You have greatness within you. And I want to make 4 things clear. Number 1, everything that I'm going to say, you already know it. If what I share, the message that I'm going to express right now and share with you, if it wasn't a part of who you are already, you wouldn't be in the audience. That's number 1. That's very important. It's already in you. I'm going to only confirm and validate that which is a part of you anyhow. The second thing is, everything I'm going to say to you, you've heard it before. From people with college degrees and credentials, I can't hold a candle to. It's common sense, but not common practice. Third thing is, I don't want you to agree with me, and I don't want you to believe me. I just want you to be open to some things right now. I want you to think beyond that which is commonly allowed. And I'm going to tell you what I'm up to. I want you to think about your goals, and I want to tell you what I'm going to do right now. My whole goal is to get past your mind. That's my whole challenge, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to do that. See, your assignment was to show up. My assignment is to get past your mind and get into your heart. Once you think about the goals that you want to achieve, and I really want to challenge you to make up your mind that you're going to make that happen for yourself. And I hope that it's some goal that really resonates with who you are. When I was a little boy, my goal was to just buy groceries for our family. My mother worked on Miami Beach. She was a domestic worker. And my goal was to really be able to go to the grocery store and purchase groceries ourselves. The families knew that my mother had adopted 7 children. And so they said, Mamie, whatever food is left over after we eat, you can take that home to the children. They were very kind, very, very considerate people. My mother, who when she worked on Miami Beach, the people were very kind. I was appreciative of their generosity. But as a little boy, I said, Mama, one day, when I become a big boy, I'm going to be able to buy groceries for us. My goal as a little boy was to buy clothes for my brothers and sisters. We wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that Mama babysat for when she went over in Miami Beach. And if the clothes were too small, she would let them out. And if they were too large, Mama could sew and take them up. And I'll never forget David Sidursky. His father was very wealthy. Mama worked for him, but David was my buddy. And so his father gave him 2 gifts for his birthday. Gave him a brand new boat, but he also gave him some motivational tapes. Earl Nightingale, I'll never forget. So he said, David, man, let me tell you something. When I die, you're going to get everything. I want you to listen to these tapes. And when his father left the room, David threw those tapes in the wastebasket. I said, David, could I have those tapes? He said, yes. I said, man, your father said, if you listen to these, you can get more and do more than what he's done. He said, look, I'm going to get everything anyhow. Go ahead, take them. I told my children, I'm not leaving them anything. You know, if I had a quarter and thought I was going to die, I'll swallow it. Write this down. It's not what you leave for your children, it's what you leave in them. Not what you leave for them, what you leave in them. No, absolutely not. I'll tell you something else happened. I'll never forget. Mama came home one day and said, Leslie, David sent you a new pair of shoes his father got for him. I said, oh, Mama, thank you so much. I can't wear David's shoes. I said, why? Well, you tell my buddy that, you know, I wear size 9.5. He wears size 9. She said, boy, shut up, sit down, and put those shoes on. She said, Marianne, go get some Vaseline. And she came in there, and my sister started rubbing the Vaseline on my feet. And she said, run some water in the bathtub. And she said, now go in there and put your feet in those shoes and don't mash the heel down. I said, Mama, shut up, boy, don't mash the heel down. And then she had me to get in the bathtub. I said, Mama, these shoes hurt. She said, get in there and walk around in the water. And I'm walking around the bathtub. Then she tried to distract me. I knew what she was doing. How'd you do at school today? I did good. Did you get in any fights? No, ma'am. You know you fought somebody. Well, I only hit 3 people today. and then after a while, she said, how you doing? I said, well, they hurt. Do they hurt as bad as they were before? No, ma'am, they feel a little bit better. Keep on walking, keep on walking. And then after a while, when the leather soaked up the water, the leather began to stretch to a perfect 9.5. You think Fortune 500 companies started talking about doing more with less? My mother's been doing that for a long time. It's amazing what you can do. But who would have thought, anybody looking in on this kid and these 7 children, who would have thought? And I look at you, I say, you have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. No one could have convinced me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now. You know, the easiest thing I do every year is go into a sales organization and dramatically increase their sales, or go into a prison and enable prisoners to see themselves differently and teach them the methods and techniques of how to plug into the system, or motivate young people to begin to see how they can have a vision of themselves in the future and fit. That's the easiest thing I do, or train a speaker to help them to leverage their experience as a speaker and say, look, speaking is a projection of who you are, not who you think you ought to be, and come with power from a platform. That's the easiest thing I've ever done. Let me share with you the most difficult thing I've ever done. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do what I'm now doing. No one could have convinced me, just given my circumstances. I earn millions of dollars every year. No one could have convinced me. If both my parents came up here right now, I would not know either one. No one could have convinced me, being labeled educable, mental retarded, born in an abandoned building on the floor in Liberty City, poor section of Miami, Florida, failing twice in school, no college training, never worked for a major corporation. I did not know I can do what I'm doing right now. I'll never forget Mike Williams, my mentor. I think a lot of people fail in life because of the fact that they need some mentoring, they need some coaching. Repeat out to me, please. You need some coaching. Yeah, see, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. I remember Mike saying, Les, you can do this. Mike, Mike, how, man? Wait a minute, Mike. How much am I going to be able to charge, Mike? Les, well, you could start out at $1,000 an hour. Mike, I don't make that working for 2 weeks. Come on, Mike. Mike, man, I appreciate your belief in me, Mike. Look, Mike, I work for the Miami Sanitation Department, man. I've been a garbage collector. I've done door-to-door sales. That was great, and I'm here as a disc jockey. That's good, Mike, but Mike, I don't think I can do that, Les. You can. But Mike, I don't have any credentials. I've never written any book, anything, man. I'm not rich. How can I teach somebody to do something I've never done? But Les, why don't you just test yourself? Why don't you stretch, Les? Come on, man. Mike, I don't know. And here's something I realized. Write this down. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. I respect Mike Williams. Here, this young man, he saw something in me that I didn't see it in strong analytical mind, and I looked at him. I always respected his thinking, and he looked at me and he made me feel special, and I said, okay, Mike. And I just kept holding on to what Mike said to me. I just kept holding on to what Mr. Washington said to me. I kept holding on to my mother saying, you're special, Leslie, when they said you're educable, mentally retarded. Mama didn't know what that meant. She only had a third-grade education. So she said, he'll be all right, or the hard head make a soft behind. He'll be fine. But she said, you're special, baby. You are special. And they kept saying that over and over again. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And so here's what I want you to do. Let us say together, as you think about your goals and your dream, let us say together, it's possible. Together, please. It's possible. Say it like you mean it. It's possible. Thank you. Write that down. See, most people never achieve their goals because most people suffer from possibility blindness. They look around trying to think about the things that they don't have. Robert Roots, a young man who wrote a book about success principles of the three little pigs. He said, it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that keeps you from being successful or happy in life. It's not what you don't have. See, I was focused on what I didn't have. Don't have a college degree, don't have any credentials, never worked for a major corporation. I was focused on the negative things. It said, negative things are the things that you see when you're not focused on your goal. What do you come with? What is it that you have within you that you showed up to bring? Hey, Les, you don't know, but my dream is a long shot. A friend of mine, Dexter Yeager, said, when the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. I'm reminded of a great man when I was reading Time magazine talking about some of the great minds of the last century. They didn't mention his name, Dr. Howard Thurman, one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and also an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and Albert Schweitzer. And he said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members standing around their bed praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the dreams given to you by life, the ideas that you never acted on, the talents, the gifts, the abilities that you never used. And there they are, standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died this very moment, what will die with you? What dreams? What ideas? What talents? What leadership potential? What greatness that you showed up to bring? That you allowed fear or procrastination to hold you back? Perhaps that's why Henry David Thoreau wrote the words, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential. Repeat after me, please, with power, feeling, and conviction. I refuse to die an unlived life. Yes, shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, live your dream. Yeah, I think we should all resolve. I refuse to die an unlived life. Don't worry about the odds. You survived 1 out of 40 million sperms. You will never have those odds again. You beat those odds, you can win anything. Here's something else stops most people. You know what it is? Failure. Let us say together, I will fail my way to success. Yes, write that down. I will fail my way to success. See, 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. 85% of people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. And I believe that the reason that most people go so far in life, and stop, Maya Angelou said it best. She wrote a poem. She said that most people go so far in life and then they park. They pull off the highway of life especially when they get some hits, especially when they've been rejected, especially if they have an illness, especially if they lose something, they talk. And I take it further. They don't even turn on their emergency lights. It's not because that they are broken down. They don't want anybody to stop and say, hey, look here, I've got some jumping cables in my trunk. You need a jump? Hey, look here, there's a service station ahead about 3 or 4 miles. I have a can. I can take you up there and get some gasoline. Oh, no, I'm just fine. I had a talk show once, and highest rated, fastest canceled talk show in the history of television. Well, at least I had one. And I was excited. You know, when the time I came into television years ago, television was based upon conflict and controversy. So I said, I want a solution-oriented talk show. First concept of that kind. High ratings. And the syndicators said, you just got lucky. Come on, let's do these other type of shows. You could be a Jerry Springer. Oh, no, that's not why I came here. No, I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world where we should hold ourselves to certain standards. I'm not going to come here and sell out on who I am. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to lower my standards for you. No, that's not why I showed up. And so they fired me. Security walked him out. I said, I can walk by myself. But let me tell you what happened. I took a hit, and I parked. It wasn't that I didn't have the ability to do more. My concept was good. But what happened when I took the hit, when they canceled the show, I canceled myself. When they said the show is going to be taken off television, it won't work, I told myself, Les, you can't succeed in television. And I parked. You know what I did? I went back to my comfort zone. As a motivational speaker, at least I'm doing better than most people. That's nothing to compare yourself to worse that other people are doing and then make yourself feel better. No, I parked. I didn't have my emergency lights on. I didn't want to show up on the radar. I parked. You know how long I parked? I parked for 10 years. Do you hear me? Now, unlike Regis Philbin, when his shows were canceled, he kept going. He kept going. He kept going. And he got other shows. I bet you somebody gave him a push. Somebody said, hey, you need a lift? I didn't even make that an option for me. I got off the highway, I went back to my comfort zone, and I parked. The show failed, and I identified myself as a failure. And guess something happened. One day, just flipping the channels, looking at PBS, and saw Wayne Dyer, my friend Wayne Dyer. And boy, I said, wait, we're both in our 60s. Wayne is still doing it. Wow, the little
Powerful, powerful message, powerful message. It puts me in mind of a good word for the day. I know I'm over the hour, but I just wanted to share this. I wanted to stick around because seeing how our trades are playing out, you know, they're still looking good. They're not where we want them to be, but they're not crazy negative, right? So our word for the day comes from Matthew 7:24. And it says, therefore, everyone who hears this, excuse me, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Meaning you could take that how you want to and put it where you need to put it at in your life, but got a good foundation and you believe in yourself and believe in Christ and believe that he created you to do all things, and you can do all things through him. And you keep pushing and you start whatever you start on a firm foundation, whether it's your family or chasing your dreams and your goals, and you're looking for that rock to build on, and you're putting God at the base of it, then you should be okay. Things shall work out. And I truly believe that. So with that being said, I am going to get out of here and pray that y'all have a great rest of your day. Thank y'all for watching and joining. And we took some of these, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in profit. I mean, we are in barely in profit. No, we were not here. We're here. We got one that's in profit. So, all right, y'all take care. If the good Lord says the same, y'all know what? I shall be here tomorrow.